Have you ever just felt completely buried under all the health and fitness advice out there?
Oh, absolutely. It's overwhelming sometimes.
It really is. One minute it's all high intensity, push yourself. The next it's slow and steady, or some new really complicated routine.
Right.
But what if, and hear me out here, what if the really big benefits, especially for something absolutely vital like circulation, didn't actually come from pushing harder?
Interesting premise.
Yeah, like what if real physiological change, the deep stuff, could actually happen through movements that are, well, surprisingly elegant, maybe even gentle?
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Well, today, that's exactly what we're diving deep into. We're going to unpack the pretty cutting-edge science behind this approach called Simplexity in action.
Simplexity in action.
Yeah, specifically looking at Terrence Hughes's work and his circulation booster. We want to explore how this system, well, how it weaves together multiple scientific ideas to really optimize the body's circulation.
And the material we're looking at today, it's really quite insightful. It carefully lays out the research behind every single piece of this system.
Right.
And it reveals some pretty compelling stuff about how the body's own processes can be sort of harmonized, for better health, sure, but also for more efficient, more sustainable function.
Sustainable. I like that.
It's a really great example of working with your body rather than, constantly fighting against it.
So our mission today really is to pull out the key nuggets, the most important bits from this research.
Okay.
We want to give you a really clear picture of why this approach seems to work, what's so innovative about it, and honestly, how it might just make you rethink effective movement altogether. So let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's unpack this core idea, simplexity in motion. What is that at its heart?
Well, fundamentally, it's this idea that you can get these really complex sort of body-wide physiological effects using movements that are, well, pretty simple. Elegant, even.
It almost sounds too simple, doesn't it? Especially when we're always told harder is better, push more.
It absolutely does sound counterintuitive, especially in our, no pain, no gain kind of world.
Right.
But the research supporting it is actually quite compelling. Studies are showing that this kind of gentle, integrated movement can create superior long-term metabolic benefits compared to those really complex, sometimes purely mechanical routines.
Superior long-term.
Yeah. Think of it like this. The system is just complex enough that you have to pay attention. It keeps your brain in the game, but without totally overloading you.
So a manageable cognitive load.
Exactly. And crucially, it offers a lot of movement variability.
Why is that so important?
Well, variability prevents your body from adapting too fast and hitting a plateau.
Oh, okay.
So you keep getting those circulation benefits over time. And maybe one of the most remarkable things is how scalable it is. Pretty much any fitness level can do it, and it doesn't lose its effectiveness.
That's huge.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Why do we often jump to these super complex brute force solutions when maybe something simpler, more integrated could be, well, better for us long term?
That's such a good question. And it really sets us up perfectly to understand the actual movements involved. Let's start with the first one, cross-lateral movement.
Okay.
So for anyone listening, this is basically when you move opposite limbs together. Think right arm moving with the left leg, that kind of thing. It feels pretty natural once you try it.
It does feel natural, and there's a deep scientific reason for that. This movement isn't just physical, it's like a direct conversation with your brain.
How so?
It activates both sides of your brain, both hemispheres, at the same time, creating what neuroscientists call neurological integration.
Okay, well, getting both sides to work together better.
Precisely. Imagine your brain's two halves, which often work a bit separately, suddenly communicating more efficiently, like they're high-fiving.
Oh.
And what's really fascinating is how this basic movement directly impacts brain function specifically for circulation benefits.
Really? How?
Well, when you move those opposite limbs, you're boosting activity in the corpus callosum.
The bridge between the hemispheres, right?
Exactly, the brain's superhighway. And this better neurological crosstalk, it helps optimize how your autonomic nervous system controls circulation.
Wow.
So you end up with better blood flow to your limbs, your periphery, and better regulation of your central circulation. It's like giving your brain a workout just by moving, which unlocks better circulation from the inside out.
Okay, that's mind-blowing. Brain influencing circulation just through simple movement.
It really is.
So building on that brain-body link, let's talk rhythm. The circulation booster uses a consistent beat, often a Latin one. That's not just for fun, I'm guessing.
Definitely not just for fun, although, yeah, that helps.
Right.
There's a really powerful scientific principle called entrainment happening here.
In trade.
Yeah, picture your cardiovascular system, your heart, your blood vessels literally syncing up with the rhythm of the movement, like partners dancing in time.
Okay, I can visualize that.
And this rhythmic entrainment does wonders for your heart rate variability, your HRV.
Which we know is a key marker of a healthy nervous system.
Exactly. A healthy, adaptable system. And what does this sync up do for circulation directly? Well, it significantly boosts venous return.
Blood flowing back to the heart.
Yep, through those consistent, gentle muscle contractions. It also really helps your lymphatic flow. Those rhythmic compressions and decompressions act like a pump for your lymph system.
Which doesn't have its own pump, right?
Precisely. And it improves arterial compliance, too, makes your arteries more flexible because of the periodic pressure changes.
Okay, so rhythm hits veins, lymph, and arteries.
It does. And then there's the Latin beat advantage. Research actually shows these kinds of rhythms naturally trigger dopamine release.
Dopamine, like the feel-good chemical.
Yeah, but it's not just about feeling good. Dopamine has direct circulation benefits. It encourages vasodilation.
Relaxing blood vessels.
Right, widening them for better flow.
Mm-hmm.
It improves that autonomic balance we mentioned, boosting HRV, and it helps lower stress by reducing cortisol.
And cortisol constricts circulation.
Exactly. So you get this really holistic circulatory boost, mind, body, mood, all working together.
Amazing. Brain, rhythm. Okay, now let's get into something maybe we don't think about enough. Spiral diagonal patterns. You describe these as movements following the body's fascial chains.
That's right. Those intricate webs of connective tissue, fascia, it wraps around everything, muscles, organs, bones.
So how do these patterns affect it?
Well, think of your body like a sponge. These spiral movements create this gentle ringing effect on those fascial tissues.
Ringing, like twisting a wet cloth.
Sort of, yeah. It's not just stretching. It's more like it's acting as a full body circulation pump, gently squeezing out old fluids and helping bring in fresh ones.
Huh. Which makes you wonder, how often do we think about our fascia when we move?
Hardly ever, usually. But these specific patterns, they profoundly enhance what's called interstitial fluid flow. That's the fluid between your cells.
Okay.
And they optimize capillary perfusion blood flow in the tiniest vessels through that gentle tissue deformation. Basically, it means better nutrient delivery and waste removal throughout your tissues using this fascial network.
That sounds incredibly efficient.
It is. The research even shows better glucose delivery with these patterns compared to just, say, isolated linear movements. That's a big deal for metabolic health, for energy.
Wow. Like giving your internal plumbing a really good, gentle cleaning.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've got cross-lateral for the brain, rhythm for the heart and lymph, spirals for the fascia. Now let's talk about this Jenga martial arts integration. It sounds like careful, controlled movement, almost like balancing.
Yes, it's very much about achieving what researchers call dynamic stability.
Dynamic stability.
It really enhances your proprioceptive awareness.
Proprioception, that's your body's sense of where it is in space, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like how a dancer just knows where their limbs are without looking. And developing this dynamic stability brings some really significant, often overlooked circulation benefits. Well, for one, it boosts postural circulation. Just maintaining that subtle, controlled balance activates deep, stabilizing muscles in your core, your spine, which helps blood flow.
Okay, makes sense.
Second, it really engages those peripheral heart pumps, the muscle pumps in your feet and calves that are crucial for pushing blood back up. Even tiny little stability adjustments activate them.
Like mini pumps firing off constantly.
Pretty much. And finally, the smooth, controlled nature of the movement prevents blood from pooling, which can happen with jerky motions. This reduces vascular resistance, letting blood flow more easily.
So it's the control that's key here, even if it doesn't look super intense.
Absolutely. The subtlety and precision make a huge difference to circulation, much more than you might guess just by watching.
Which brings us to something that sounds almost too simple, maybe even a bit odd. Using light, often half-filled water bottles.
Ah, yes, the water bottles. It sounds basic, but the science here is really neat.
Okay, tell me more. This sounds intriguing.
It's all about the science of light loading and using fluid dynamics. Research shows clearly that even low-intensity muscle contractions, if they're sustained or varied in the right way, significantly boost microvascular perfusion in the muscles.
Microvascular, they're really small vessels again.
Exactly. Now, these half-filled water bottles, they provide what you could call optimal resistance because the water inside sloshes around.
Ah, so it's not a fixed weight.
Right. It creates a constantly changing variable load. This forces your muscles to make tiny micro adjustments all the time, engaging stabilizers without creating that static tension that can actually hinder blood flow, which you sometimes get with heavier fixed weights.
Okay, that makes sense. No tensing up and blocking flow.
Precisely. Plus, the movement of the water itself, the hydrostatic effects, actually enhances your proprioception even more, gives your body extra feedback.
So it's smart resistance, not just light resistance.
Totally. It's ingenious in its simplicity, really. It trains your body for dynamic real-world adaptation, not just pushing against something static.
Okay, so let's pull this all together. We have cross-lateral for brain integration, rhythm for entrainment of heart and lymph, spirals for fascia, dynamic stability from the controlled movements, and this smart light variable resistance. It really does sound like an integrated system, not just random exercises.
It is absolutely designed as an integrated system, and the combined effect is expert activation of your peripheral heart pumps.
Those muscle pumps in the arms and legs.
Yes, vital for venous return, getting blood back to the heart, especially fighting gravity. And what's really key here, and often missed, is that this kind of low physiological stimulation boosts microvascular perfusion blood flow in the tiny vessels without necessarily increasing your overall bulk blood flow dramatically.
What does that mean practically?
Well, it means for you, circulation gets effectively redirected. It shifts from pathways where blood might just be flowing through without doing much nutritive work towards the pathways that actually deliver oxygen and nutrients right to your cells. Much more efficient delivery.
Got it. Targeted delivery.
Exactly. And then remember the rhythmic spiral movements?
Yeah.
They're just perfectly designed for lymphatic enhancement.
Right, because the lymph system needs movement.
It relies entirely on movement, no central pump like the heart. So these patterns are crucial for draining metabolic waste, toxins, keeping things flowing so lymph doesn't get stagnant.
Okay.
And finally, tying it all together, these patterns boost microvascular recruitment. Research shows movement like this that enhances perfusion in the small vessels, actually improves glucose delivery and insulin sensitivity more effectively than even some high-intensity exercise.
More effectively? How?
Because it optimizes capillary recruitment, opening up more of those tiny pathways, and crucially, it avoids blood pooling, so fuel gets where it needs to go.
Wow. Okay, so there's a core principle tying this all together then.
Yes, absolutely. We can call it movement coherence.
Movement coherence.
It's not just a catchy phrase. It describes a state where all these different physiological systems, cardiovascular, nervous, fascial, lymphatic, are genuinely working together, in harmony, in concert, not competing or working in isolation.
They're coherent.
Exactly. And the results of achieving that coherence, they're pretty impressive. You get enhanced circulation, but without stressing the heart. You get vastly improved insulin sensitivity.
Better blood sugar control.
Right. Reduced inflammation because the lymph system is working better. Better recovery because it activates the parasympathetic rest and digest system. And just sustainable energy all day. None of that crash and burn you can get from other workouts.
That list of benefits is, well, it's pretty compelling.
It really is transformative for many people.
So, thinking bigger picture then, what does this tell us about how we should approach exercise generally? If this gentle, coherent stuff is so effective, why is the default so often still, go hard or go home?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It really challenges those deep-seated beliefs. Traditional exercise, look, it has its place, its own benefits for sure.
Of course.
But sometimes it can actually impair microvascular function unintentionally. If blood gets shunted away from those crucial nutritive routes during really intense effort or during static holds where muscles clamp down.
You can restrict the very flow you're trying to improve.
In some ways, yes, at the micro level. But the Simplexity approach, it's designed specifically to maintain and enhance that nutritive circulation throughout the movement, making sure tissues get what they need consistently.
So the key is sustainable activation.
Exactly. It's about getting that profound circulation boost without overwhelming the system, without causing metabolic stress. And that is absolutely crucial for long-term metabolic health, for recovery, for just feeling good day to day. It offers a different way, maybe a smarter way, to think about movement and taking care of ourselves.
What an incredible deep dive. really unpacking the science behind Terrence Hughes' Simplexity in action and his circulation booster.
Yeah.
It just hammers home that idea, doesn't it? That real innovation isn't always about more complexity.
Sometimes it's about elegant simplification.
Exactly, or just revealing the power in things that seem simple on the surface. I think the real aha moment here is realizing that these truly deep, lasting health benefits can come from, well, from understanding our body's own systems and harmonizing them through movements that are actually accessible, even intuitive.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Just consider how maybe small, consistent, coherent movements, rather than just sheer force or intensity, might actually be the most powerful tools we have for optimizing all those intricate processes inside us. It really makes you ponder, how might understanding these principles of simplexity, of coherence, change how you approach moving your body each day. Maybe it's not about the hardest workout, but finding that elegant key to unlock your body's potential.
Definitely food for thought. We really encourage you to think about the implications of movement coherence in your own life. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.